And good morning, it's Thursday, and we are live. We are live at 0700 on a Thursday morning, and let me tell you something. I still am not tired of winning.
This guy so much sack. He protect, he attack. This why no more homo.
Screech.
Ranches. Got it? Got it. Oh, jeez.
Yes.
So much wang.
Everybody is Totar winning this week. Holy shit. Except for California. Oh, our Totar wins this week. We have more than one Totar win this week. And I tell you what, son. When Totar win is at the expense of California, good God, that does my heart warm. So what happened was,
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna kind of start from the side here. What happened was, Los Angeles mayor threatens to cut power and water for businesses violating coronavirus orders. What? Oh yeah, oh yeah. This knucklehead.
Yeah, that's not totalitarian at all.
And they're still following this line here. We're still getting reports each day of non-essential businesses continuing to operate as normal. This behavior is irresponsible and selfish. Son, people have to feed their kids. That ain't complicated. People have to feed their kids. It's not selfish to do your job, get paid, and take care of your business as a grown damn man.
I know, right? Eventually the power company will turn you off. And I can assure you, you don't want your AC to go out in California in the summer months. That's a pretty miserable existence.
So what happened was, oh damn, I didn't get the Elon tweet pulled up. I've got this article pulled up. I had another one. But anyway, Hidalgo County. that's in Tejas. They have written a letter to Elon Musk. Elon Musk, here's your Totar win. Elon Musk said, I'm opening my plants. Shit up your noses, and y'all can arrest this dick. Elon Musk straight said, we're in business. Now, when I say he straight said we're in business, let me be very clear. What Elon has done, he's opened his plant, started making cars again this past weekend, against the orders of Alameda County, and just to be clear on this, so that we're very clear on this, the 10th Amendment of the United States Constitution says that any powers not enumerated herein are reserved to the states and to the people. Show me the law where the people abdicated to the states the right to arbitrarily close businesses. And yes, I did say arbitrarily. And come on at me with your, but there's a pandemic. But yes, there's a pandemic. A pandemic in which all of the projections have been wildly erroneous. The early projections, 2.5 million deaths, 4% death rates, all this stuff. It is incontrovertibly the case now that we know all of those projections were dead wrong. They were dead wrong by orders of magnitude.
Yeah, and it's not just how wrong their projections were. The whole point of the temporary shutdown, the whole flatten the curve thing, was never about stopping people from dying of coronavirus. It was always about giving our medical system time to catch up and make sure we had enough ICU beds and ventilators and PPE and all of that stuff. And our medical system has performed admirably. So, curves flattened, it's reopened. Like at this point, the coronavirus is not going away. Like,
Yeah,
don't give me the
and there was
don't give
all
me
the
the vaccine
panic.
line.
There was all the panic about how the hospitals were going to be overrun and all this stuff, and we did things to be ready for that. We had the Army Corps of Engineers set up temporary hospitals and staff them all over the country where the highest rates of infection were. We deployed the USS Mercy, the hospital ship, and there were two hospital ships deployed, and I forget the name of the other one. The hospital ships, the temporary Army engineer hospitals, all that, the temporarily refitted stadiums with extra hospital beds, all that. We spent billions of dollars and man hours and resources to make sure that those things were in place. And I'm not even saying that was the wrong thing to do, but now that we have the hindsight, they went unused. They're being shut down now because they're not because all they ever managed to do was soak up resources. And that's okay. I'd rather throw away food than tell somebody at dinner that there's not enough for them. Yes, I would rather see it wasted than see us not have it. It's better to have too much than not enough. Okay, I'm good there. But the fact that we have already seen the resources that we've wasted should teach us, okay, if I'm having 10 people over for dinner and I make 4 pizzas and that's too much, maybe I only make 3 next time.
Well, Rod points out in the comments that
Oh,
they
Jesus,
knew
there he
they
is.
were
What's
wrong.
up, brother?
Oh yeah, they knew they were wrong before any of this started. I'm coming to that opinion that this was not an entirely known quantity. It was new, it was novel, but I mean, let's go back to the beginning when the World Health Organization said, "Oh, this is not that big of a deal," and you got Nancy Pelosi saying, "Go to Chinatown and shop." Um, I'm trying not to go full tinfoil hat on this, but I keep going back to New York sending sick elderly people back to the nursing home.
And leaving the
Like,
subway open. And another thing, in real quick, in your talk when you talk about New York, um, there is no. We were talking about this at dinner last night. There is no social distancing in New York. Most of the people that live in New York City live in apartment buildings. I don't care. You could weld them in unless you shut down the central air system. And I mean taping plastic bags over all the vents. Unless you're shutting that down, they're all breathing the same air that's recycling through the building. There is no quarantine social distancing there. And okay, I hadn't intended to go down this road today, but the word quarantine. A quarantine, you've seen the bad police procedural dramas where, oh, the terrorists smashed the bioweapon vial in the coffee shop. We're going to tent it, and everybody in there stays in there and doesn't come out here, and nobody out here goes in there unless they're wearing a special suit, and then they have to strip down naked in the street and get scrubbed with an emergency shower. When did we start quarantining healthy people?
when we wanted the federal government to have a massive overreach and sink Donald Trump's amazing economy so that
Yeah.
Sleepy Joe could actually have a chance.
So here's what really happened with COVID-19 in America. All the there were all these bad numbers early on, and then a bunch of smart people and Nancy Pelosi and some other people said, I don't think this is going to be that bad. And then as the numbers started to turn and we started to see more and more that, oh no, this really is going to be just a bad flu, all of a sudden you had Nancy Pelosi and Gavin Newsom and Andrew Cuomo and, I mean, pick your Democrat. They all early on, oh, Trump's a madman. He's a racist. He shut down travel to China. That's crazy. We don't need to do anything like that. This isn't going to be that. Wait, we can steal how much money? How much can we steal? Oh, we could shut down the economy, blame it on Donald Trump, and then kind of gaslight in a UBI. Everybody's gonna die. That's what happened.
Oh, you know that part of the bill that they're working on for the second round of stimulus includes an indefinite $2,000 a month.
Yeah.
I mean, sure. Nobody's ever going to have to pay for any of this. Like, it's not like this is going to end up being the Weimar Republic or anything. I referenced that. The thing that has always struck me about how poverty-stricken that region was is it got to the point to where it was cheaper to burn stacks of money than use the money to buy firewood. Like, people would get paid, and they would get paid in wheelbarrows full of cash, and they would bring that cash home, and they would burn it. That's inflation. No, thank you. Cameron doesn't want that.
No, not at all.
But luckily, we've got Elon Musk taking lots and lots and lots and lots of red pills, opening his factory back up.
Just the pendulous swinging dick on this guy. By the way, I'll be down on the line with my workers, so y'all can arrest me. Wow.
The guy that can most afford the lawyers. That's.
But yeah, you mentioned the new upcoming stimulus bill that's being pushed. Wow, we're getting a little over the map today, but that's okay. I'll touch on this real quick. Just like the last one, it's stuffed with all this horseshit pork, and it's stuff that's just absolutely unrelated. Part of it seeks, if it passes, to abolish all voter ID. What the hell does that have to do with the coronavirus? What does that have to do with public health? Right, never let a crisis go to waste. It mandates,
especially if you can manufacture the crisis.
It mandates that there be special provisions to guarantee increased women, small business owners, and ethnic minority small business owners, specifically in the legal cannabis business industry. It mandates requirements for diversity reports to come out of businesses and all this. Are you kidding me? You're gonna try and tell me that you have a concern or an interest in public health and safety, and then you're gonna write me a totalitarian globalist policy cause du jour that has nothing at all to do with public health generally, let alone trying to prevent the spread of a dangerous virus.
Well, I mean, it's election posturing. The Democrats, the left, they've got to go back to their various victim groups and say, we really tried to get the government to help you out with these things, but those mean, evil, racist Republicans just wouldn't let us. Vote the orange man out. And that's really all it is. This is election posturing. I sincerely believe were it 2019 or 2021, the coronavirus response would have been radically different from what we got.
Yeah. For starters, we wouldn't have risked crashing the global economy, which, by the way, is not a thing that we're at risk of doing now. It is an occurrence.
Yeah, it's a thing that's beginning to happen. However, there is another Totar Win that I feel like has a bit of silver lining.
Yeah, California's turning red, baby. Boom! So, Republican Mike Garcia won California's 25th congressional district special election, defeating Democratic Assemblywoman Christy Smith to fill the seat vacated in October by Katie Hill. Oh! Katie Hill. Isn't Katie Hill the one that basically got Me Too'd out because she was in a weird threeple with her?
The technically correct word is thruple. Don't you know?
Yeah, that's not a word. That's not a thing. So the word you're looking for is slut.
And the truth is, I'm actually pretty libertarian on this. Like, if that's how you want to do, you do you. But I'm also all for consistency. If this was a male congressman that just liked to hang out naked and do drugs and have somebody, decades his junior, just basically kind of be a live-in piece of strange, well, gosh, he'd have been run out of Congress with his head on a pike.
No.
So,
No. Only if he was a Republican.
fair, but the point stands that in the Me Too era, and even before the Me Too era, there's no way that you can't at least include the fact that there's a power dynamic there. That part of the reason why this behavior is occurring is because, so and so is so powerful. So you want equality? Well, this is equality. Don't miss me with all your slut shaming stuff, because honestly, this is not about slut shaming. This is about, well, hold on now. And if it's creepy when a man does it, and you want equality, it has to be creepy when a woman does it. Just period. And when you get to the point to where, like, these pictures were not stolen, they weren't hacked. Like, the congresswoman and her husband were voluntarily posting them online. You've got to really question their decision-making abilities.
Yeah, and okay, so I called her, just real quick, I called her a slut, and then you said something about being libertarian on. Honestly, I'm pretty libertarian on that stuff. I don't care who you sleep with. I don't care how you manage your marriage. I know what's for me, and that's not it. You do what you want to do, and as far as I'm concerned, there should never be policy or law involved with it. But I'm happy to judge you and to hold the opinion that you're an immoral person, you're a lesser person, you're a bad person.
Yeah, so here's the question, though. You said the thing about California turning red. Is California really turning red, or is this a case that often happens whenever...
It will if the Democrats successfully abolish the Electoral College.
Anyhow, but more specifically, is this a case of disgraced congresswoman gets kicked out, and because of the power vacuum that's created, it's easy for the opposing party to come in and temporarily steal the seat away? I'll be much more impressed if 2 years go by and the seat is retained by Republicans. Now, Ted Cruz, bless him, he had a fantastic tweet that went something to the effect of, gosh, it's almost like people don't like being told that they've got to stay home and lose all their, lose their entire life. And they're going to vote in whatever lets them. Yeah, I see what you put up there. And I get it, but you still have population density to overcome. And frankly, you've still got ballot stuffing and vote harvesting and all of that to overcome.
But if you do away with the Electoral College under the premise that it means each individual vote counts more, and more people vote in California as a result, that result is California goes red in perpetuity. Because these red areas here, that's the farms.
Yeah, which means they've got a lower population density.
It does. It does mean they have a lower population density. But over that spread, the difference in that population density, it doesn't narrow to zero, but it does narrow. That's an important factor there. That's a whole thing. We go into it another time. So we also flipped one in Wisconsin. Tom Tiffany. I really don't know much about this guy, but he endorsed wow, I almost slipped there. He endorsed the Donald, and it says he easily won a congressional election Tuesday in a heavily conservative rural Wisconsin district. That's two blues flipped red. We're doing good.
Yeah, I think not only will Donald Trump, despite everything that has happened, still likely win re-election. I also think you're gonna maybe not a red wave, but at least a bit of a red swing, just because Donald Trump is going to be on the ballot and coattails matter.
Well, that, and I think
It's
honestly, I think there's enough. I think there's enough fatigue with. Hey, the Democrats have had the House for 2 years, and all they've done with it is chase impeachment. And now it turns out that not only did they waste our time with the whole impeachment proceedings, which we all knew was going to fail from the outset, but now it turns out that it was entirely fabricated, and the facts are rapidly appearing to be these. The impeachment was the entire impeachment pursuit was actually a criminal activity. The Democrats that pursued the impeachment were engaged in crimes, and I'm not speaking, in patriotic, lofty hyperbole here. Oh, they're all traitors. No. I'm talking about specifically falsifying testimony, committing prosecutorial crimes,
illegally unmasking Flynn.
Illegally unmasking Flynn, illegally operating surveillance networks. They committed very tangible, explicit crimes. And it looks like the vast majority of the Democrats in the House of Representatives are at least complicit in these very serious federal crimes in pursuit of what can only reasonably be called a coup, an attempted coup.
Rod says in the comments that Republicans would campaign in New York and California. I actually think they should already do that. I think it would be highly, highly effective for Republicans to campaign in, San Francisco and walk around and point to the homeless people and point to the shit in the street and say, hey, this is what happens when you vote blue. You've got an alternative. Like I get why you spend your resources going to purple states and pink states and swing states and whatever, because you can bank that Texas and Georgia and Mississippi and whatnot are probably going to go red, and you can bank that California, New York, and New Jersey are probably going to go blue. So it makes a lot more sense to go to places like Ohio and Florida, kind of more bellwether states that swing back and forth. But I think in the new day and age that we live in, where there's a lot of things about our electoral campaigns that are so much more decentralized, that you could really, really, really make your point by going to New York and going to California and just pointing to the budget, pointing to the tax structure, pointing to the homeless people, pointing to the crime rates, pointing to the actual differences that occur between the races, and how a lot of your really, really poor Black people are all sandwiched together in these cities in largely blue controlled areas. One of the most brilliant things that I think Donald Trump did in the last campaign was just straight up say, hey, Black people, you've been voting for Democrats for years, and how's that working out for you? Would it hurt to try the Republicans just once or twice?
Yeah, what do you have to lose?
What do you have to lose? So yeah, they should already be campaigning there. But just the same,
real quick,
man.
we were talking about about Mike Garcia flipping that seat. He didn't just flip it. 56-43. That's substantial.
Yeah, anything outside of about a 52% margin is considered a solid win. So the fact that he got well above that, I still think it's entirely possible that this is not a canary in a coal mine.
Hang on just a second. Okay, this would be substantial in a district that was normally very close. But Katie Hill won this district by 9 points. So, right there. Garcia has flipped it from blue to red with a 13-point walloping of the Democrat. Quick math. Because Katie Hill won it by 9 points, so it was D plus 9. That's a 22-point swing. That's almost a quarter. That's almost a quarter of the voting base flipped.
Yeah, but
that's still huge.
I'm not saying it's not huge, but I am saying it has to be part of the analysis of the fact that there was probably a lot of people that crossed party lines in sheer protest. There's probably a whole bunch of dispirited Democrats who stayed home that were embarrassed over how everything with her went down. I still think that this is not a special election. This is part of a regular election cycle, and it doesn't come on the heels of an incredibly embarrassing scandal. Do the Republicans still win this seat? I don't know. Wow, have we gone for almost 30 minutes? Yeah, we have. Man.
Yeah, we did. And that's about all I've got today. So, if you have any closing remarks there, Cameroon?
Now just come back tomorrow for hashtag DRT.
All right, my brother. Well, guys, we appreciate y'all tuning in.
Please give us a like.
Give us a like. Share this on your social media, and we will see you tomorrow. And hey, since we had, do we call that a triple Totar Win today? I'm gonna leave y'all with the Totar Win sounder today.
Win. This guy so much sack. He protect, he attack. This why no more homo rocket ranches. Got it? Got it. Oh, shit.
All right, man. Later.
Later, brother.